Okay, so here's the deal. And right? Well, theoretically speaking. Hey guys, welcome to the Theoretically Speaking podcast. We're on episode 4. Harper's gonna give us a little look at what we're listening to today.
So, one thing we're going to be talking about is colors and, like, the different eras of color and we're going to go real deep into it, I feel like, hopefully. And then, recycling ideas. How true is that? How many ideas are there in the world? And then, lastly, because this is one of our Octobercasts, as they're now called.
As of 5 seconds ago.
Yeah. We're going to talk about spooky monsters being real because they're so repetitive throughout history and records, and we have lots of information on that.
Yes. Well, I don't know about lots, but
we have some.
We have information about that.
So I like to write mine out in, like, tiny paragraphs because it kind of helps me remember whenever I come back to them when I write down a theory. So I said, I'm starting to want more and more yellow things in my life coincidentally. Like, it's not like I'm going out of my way to get yellow things. I'm just noticing it more and more. And I said, I think my green era is ending. And it was kind of the same thing where one day I looked up and I had a lot of green things. It was like so many green things, specifically like my backpack. And that's like a thing I use every day, and it was a print I chose by Vera Bradley, and it's like very flowery and bright, and like that's just like something I like. And then I started getting more of that same pattern for other things, and then I had like a green plaid shirt and a green hat and like green things for my room. It just kind of happened.
I noticed you're actually wearing something that is orange that fades to yellow.
Yes.
Today.
I am. This was not planned. I pulled this out of my sweater storage bag thing that I have right now because it's starting to get cooler. I was going to wear a gray sweater today, but I only have these brown boots. So I was
you can wear gray and brown.
I normally would, but for some reason it just seemed wrong.
Oh, okay.
This morning it
didn't feel right.
Yeah, they were just too far apart, I feel like. Like, I didn't have something... Because I was wearing dark jeans as well. So I felt like it would be black, bright brown.
Yeah.
And it would be too much. And then I asked, like, what does it mean whenever you just start choosing colors and it seemed like seemingly no reason? And I couldn't find a true study or answer to that, but I have some ideas about it. And obviously color always generally is believed to represent certain things and create certain emotions for humans, and I have some info on that. Because some colors mean certain things to you at certain times of your life. Like growing up, I am the only girl in a set of 4. I have 3 siblings, and they're all boys.
A set of 4.
A set of 4.
That's a set of 4 I'd like to have.
We are quite the set. So I'm the only girl. So growing up, when there's 4 kids, you tend to get, like, the same gift, because it's easy, like, if it's from, like, a distant relative or something, or, like, when we went to the beach, if they all got us Frisbees, or, just, like, something trivial. It would all be, like, everyone would get a different color, and I always ended up with a pink thing because I was the only girl, and there were usually only so many colors at the store, So, I think as a result of that, having pink given to me so many times, and I didn't, like, naturally as a kid, I don't think I really liked pink on my own anyways. When I was little, I wanted my room to be yellow and gold because of my sombrero that I had. I don't know how I got this sombrero, but I wanted it to be a part of my room decor, so my mom always wanted everything to match really well, so she was like, okay, so your room could be yellow and red, and I was like, yes, if that means I can hang up my sombrero. And I always really liked the color yellow. So, like, pink for me, it wasn't like I liked pink, I just wasn't one of those girls, but I didn't start hating it until I just, like, so many people kept giving me pink, and I wasn't asking for it, and I, like, understand why they would now, but at the time it just made me angry. Like, I just didn't understand. I liked blue too. Why couldn't I have the blue thing and someone else have the pink thing? Like, I don't care. I just want a blue frisbee instead of a pink one. So for a long time I really didn't like hot pink at all. I didn't like light pink very much. I didn't like red, and I think it's because I always thought of red as like an angry color, so I always liked gravitated more towards cool tones, even though isn't yellow a warm color?
Yeah, yellow is a warm tone.
Yeah. My room growing up was like yellow, like the room that we record in. And then we had the foam red flowers, like she used a flower foam stamp thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to do it, like, in the corners. And it was really cute.
That's cute.
Yeah, so it was, like, red accents and a yellow room. So, like, red didn't bother me too much, but I just, like, you know...
It wasn't something that you sought out.
Yeah, not at all. Like, if I had a choice, I would, like, make it clear that I wanted blue instead of red.
Yeah.
As I've grown up, I've, like, become more accustomed to pink. Like, I would say probably in the last 2 years or so. And it's not hot pink, it's like a blush pink, but I think it's like so soft.
I completely agree. I don't know when I started hating pink. Mm-hmm. I know that I used to love it.
As a kid?
As like a
completely
little
opposite
girl,
of me.
I freaking loved pink. I wanted everything to be pink and glittery and sequins and like fluffy.
You still love sparkles, which is kind of
always like feathers and stuff. Yeah, but I do still love sparkles.
And I always kind of think it's a little bit out of character for you because you're such a like, and I think like, you know, because of hair school and everything, you're so black is everything.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily like black is everything. I just prefer darker colors.
And I don't mean like you're one of those girls that's like, black is the color of my soul.
God, I love black.
You're just like, you just tend to have a lot of black things.
I tend to have a lot of black things. That is from hair school, because that's all I could wear for an entire year.
Yeah.
But I do still prefer darker colors.
In general.
And every now and then Harper can attest to me, like, picking out an outfit and saying, I don't know, I feel weird.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm too light. I feel like I need to be a little bit darker. Like maybe I should wear a dark purple sweater with this white shirt or something. I don't know. I can't.
And then I try to convince you that it's fine.
This light blue is just too light. I don't know what's going on.
Your patchwork blue sweater that you got from AE makes me think, because I remember the day you bought that and you were like, do I look like I feel like this today?
Yeah. A lot of my outfits have to do with the colors and how I feel that day. And if I pick out an outfit in a hurry and I get somewhere to work or something, I'm like, I don't feel like this today, and my whole day can be ruined if I don't feel like the colors that I'm wearing that day.
Do you always try to match it to your current mood, or do you try to like use the colors to change your mood? Like, have you ever done that?
I think that I usually match it to my current mood. That would make more sense.
Yeah. And considering how you said it,
yeah,
that's what it sounded like. When I was trying to do research for this, there were so many suggestions on like decorating your house, and like probably if I continued to look, I feel like I would have found something like what colors you should wear to an interview.
Yeah, depending on which site you look at. I don't know how I ended up looking this up, but it's either red or blue, because red is a powerful color. And so if you're like interviewing for
like a leadership position,
you want to wear red, or red can come off too harshly. So a more friendly color is blue. You want to wear that so that you come across more calm, cool, collected.
I'm totally in control of my future, kind of thing.
Red can be a little bit like, and if you do wear red, it should probably only be like a red tie or like a red like, I don't know,
Scarf or
carry like a
something.
red handbag.
Or heels.
Yeah.
Man, I love a good red heel. I don't own any
Oh my
right
gosh,
now, but
Clinton, shut up.
What did you call me?
Clinton.
Clinton.
Stacy and Clinton.
Oh, I don't know if I know that. I'm sorry.
What not to wear? They have a signature outfit that they put these people in. Do you even know how that show works?
No.
Okay, they pick this person with
like
really
it.
terrible style, probably wearing something that I am wearing now on a regular daily basis.
Yeah.
Leggings, t-shirt, plaid, no shoes.
This the typical Cassie uniform.
Somebody that has like written in, their family members have written in and said like,
they're concerned.
These people have no style. They need your help. Please help us. And they take them and they have them pick out outfits, 3 outfits from their own wardrobe. And they put them in it's a mirror room, so you see yourself from every single angle, which from our last podcast would really freak me out.
Oh yeah, mirrors are freaky, guys. If you don't know about that, listen to the last podcast.
They have to take their outfits in and like explain to Stacy and Clinton why they like their outfits. And then Stacy and Clinton will completely rip their outfit apart verbally.
I would
point
end
out
up
everything bad that they freaking do usually. Point out everything bad, and then they all 3 go to the wardrobe together, throw everything away. There are some things that they get to keep.
Like a statement piece or something?
Yeah, if they have like okay shoes or like jackets and they're like, oh, I've never worn that jacket, I bought it for a job interview and it's like a nice blazer, they'll say, okay,
you're gonna be wearing this a lot more often.
Yeah. They let them go shopping for like a day or so alone, and then they like run up behind them and they're like, we saw you almost buy that thing you're not supposed to buy. And then Stacy and Clinton help them shop the rest of the time. Then at the end they like try on all of the outfits that they've bought, which is typically like 3 outfits. They like go to a makeup and hair person and get their hair and makeup done, and like makeup tips and hair tips on how to like be stylish. And then they go show their family members what they've learned.
Is there normally a red heel?
Yes. There's always an outfit with a pop of color.
Yeah. I love pop.
And it's always your heel, and it's always red.
Red heels are just a classic, to be honest. It's like, a heel is powerful on its own, right?
Yeah.
Let's make it red.
Or blue, green, sparkly.
Cassie has an amazing magical pair of blue-green sparkly boots that the world needs to see, but it hasn't yet.
I was going to wear them to my cousin's wedding, but then I was like, no, that's too loud to wear to a wedding.
Yeah, a little bit too loud. I wish I could have found something better, like, that I know is more fleshed out, you know, and, like, been a better, longer study. Like, something from the, National Board for Psychology or something like that. But what I did find was arttherapyblog.com.
Makes sense to me.
So they have a series on color psychology. This specific article was called The Emotional Effects of Color, which was kind of like what we were talking about. They have several installments over this: color therapy and healing, color meanings and symbolism. They have charts for it, applying color psychology to everyday life. Like, even though I couldn't find something that was like from a national organization, they have like put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
And so a basic understanding of color psychology is it's based on the mental and emotional effects that colors have on sighted people in all facets of life. There are some very subjective pieces to color psychology, as well as some more accepted and proven elements. There's also variations in interpretation, meaning, and perception between different cultures. So in a way, because it's so variable, it is somewhat a pseudoscience, but there's also a lot of evidence to back it up. So it talks about cool colors being more creative, and since we're both creative people, like, I would say that's probably why we're drawn to those cooler tones.
I don't know if I'm necessarily drawn to cooler tones.
Well, darker.
As much as I am drawn to deeper tones. So, like, the plums and indigo and mustard yellow and forest green, colors with more depth.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be a lot of people like mustard yellow, forest green. Don't you just mean red, blue, yellow, and green?
No, there's lots of variations between greens and yellows and blues. They're not all just your basic run-of-the-mill primary colors here. There's not your basic
We get
primary
into the
and secondary.
tertiary colors, guys.
Yeah. But, like, purple, I guess if you were to look at them from a primary level, like, plum is a purple.
Mm-hmm.
And green, or forest green would be a green.
Yeah.
And that's still a cool color, right?
Indigo is a blue.
Yeah. So at their base, even though you prefer the deeper, I'm not sure what that could say about, like, it doesn't go into detail about, like, the deeper colors and the brighter colors. But, like, at its base, a cooler color is supposed to be better for being peaceful and being creative. Especially, like, purple is supposed to, and, like, lavender, the scent, and as well as, like, lavender, the color, is considered a calming color and smell. And then it says... Purple utilizes both red and blue to provide a nice balance between stimulation and serenity that is supposed to encourage creativity. That kind of makes sense to me. Warm colors are typically used in, like, food advertising, like yellows and reds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a study about it, or just, like, a lineup of all the major food chains, and there's not one that doesn't have at least red or yellow in the logo. So when you see those colors...
Oh, yeah. I've heard that you should not paint your kitchen orange.
Yes, that's what this says,
because
actually.
it makes you hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You should paint it, like, blue or something.
Yeah. So this warns you that you need to be careful about using bright colors like orange and especially yellow because they reflect more light and excessively stimulate a person's eyes, which can lead to irritation.
You know, I find that looking at bright colors actually hurts my eyes.
Yeah. I think it's very true. It's probably why you enjoy mustard yellow.
And they say that people with lighter color eyes are more sensitive to light.
Yeah, because we both have blue eyes.
Yeah.
And if you have blue eyes, you have a lack of melanin in your eyes, lack of pigmentation. So your eyes are more susceptible to those kinds of issues. Even though people with brown eyes and stuff have, like, experience eye strain and things like that, it's more common in people with blue eyes. Common psychological effects of colors, and this is only for the Western Hemisphere. I'm sure it's different all over the world. Like in India, if you look at pictures, they have a ton of red everywhere, and I'm not sure if that's because red could be considered like a color of like good luck and fertility, because I kind of get that feeling from red, but I'm not 100% sure. Why did you give me that look?
Because red is that what it is? Good luck and fertility?
I don't think that is by Western standards.
Okay. I was about to say good luck and fertility is like definitely green.
Yeah. See, that's like, I knew what it would be, but I think, because, I mean, maybe I can do a quick Google search. But I mean, even in Western society, red is seen as like a color for love. Even if it's more romantic, that's still like on its way to fertility.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up the color red in Indian culture. I tried to choose one that I thought would be at least a little scholarly. So this is from Western Oregon University on colors in Hinduism, which is the main religion in India. So red indicates both sensuality and purity, which is completely different from...
That is strange.
It is strange. it's completely different from like Western society where red is the exact opposite of white, which is considered like the purest color.
Yeah.
And as the Puritans would say, like if you were to drop a drop of red paint into a bucket of white paint, it would change the entire thing. That's kind of like how they saw it. But in the Hindu religion, red is of utmost significance and the color most frequently used for occasions like marriages, birth of a child, festivals, etc. They wear the red marks on their foreheads during ceremonies and important occasions. As a sign of marriage, women put red powder on their hair parts. They also wear a red sari during marriage, like when they're getting married, instead of, which would make sense because if that's their color for purity, like here women wear white. And then red powder is usually thrown on statues of deities and phallic symbols.
So pure.
Yeah. During prayers. It's the color of Shakti, and it says in parentheses prowess. A red colored dress is put on the deities who are charitable, brave, protective, and who have the capacity to destroy evil. On the death of a woman, her body is wrapped in a red cloth for the cremation. So it's like obviously a very, very important color in their culture. Another thing said that it was associated with one of the most revered goddesses in Hindu Hindu beliefs, Durga, and she symbolizes the divine forces or positive energy, and it's known as divine Shakti, and this goes into a little bit more detail, calling it feminine energy, which would explain why it's like a color of purity and also sensuality, against the negative forces of evil and wickedness.
And min energy.
Yeah, min energy.
JK.
We're kidding. But that's like how it is there, and then of course I feel like everyone's pretty, familiar with Western colors and things like that. But what I thought was really cool when I looked at black, because I think it's pretty typical of everyone to expect black to just mean like evil or things like that. One thing it put was intelligence, strength, power, and authority, which I feel like some people would put like that underneath, some of those things underneath red.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like wearing a black dress to like an interview or something is it like makes a statement without being overpowering.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For gray, it just says neutral, timeless, practical.
No, there's got to be another gray color meaning.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find something.
See if you can find it while I talk about some other ones.
Because gray is one of my favorite colors.
Yeah, I really have grown to appreciate gray. So, like I was talking about, while she looks that up, I was talking about finding more and more yellow in my life, and I wonder if that is like kind of related to the stage of life I'm in right now, which I feel like I'm finding lots of new creative things to do and getting involved in projects I never thought I would. So the color yellow symbolizes, according to arttherapyblog.com, happiness, laughter, cheery warmth, optimism, hunger, which I do not need, intensity, frustration, anger, attention getting. So it's weird to me how it goes from the very, like, both ends of the spectrum, especially considering they put anger under there, because it goes from like happiness to anger and frustration.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I can see it, but also it's like, am I overstimulating my brain sometimes with too many yellow things? Green, which is like my thing that I'm buying less of now, that I was buying a lot of. It says natural, cool, growth, money, health, envy, tranquility, harmony, calmness, and fertility. And I've found like, I think everyone's confidence kind of goes up and down throughout the years. And there's been times when different colors were like my favorite color or color I preferred throughout my life. So it was like yellow when I was younger, blue, then purple, and then it was blue again. It was kind of like blue and purple for a really long time. And then I don't know if I ever called green my favorite color, but I definitely like had more green than most things.
Yeah.
And then now I'm back to yellow again. And it's like, is this gonna just be a continuous cycle where it's kind of like, if I were to follow these color psychology sort of things about these different colors, because blue is considered more toned down, is that like kind of a reflection of who I was at the time, and yellow is a brighter color, but it also has some negative effects as well. So, you know, I just think it's really interesting. Do you feel like you've like gone up and down with colors? Or have you always had the same favorites?
I've kind of always had, like, my favorite colors are both purple and black. Mm-hmm. And they've been purple and black for a very long time. Mm-hmm. But there are some colors that I will notice myself being more drawn to in, like, clothes and stuff. Mm-hmm. Started working at American Eagle. Mm-hmm. We would go through, like, color phases as a store. Mm-hmm. And I would either be, like, upset that they were phasing a color out, mm-hmm. or happy that we were getting more of that color in, such as, like, indigo. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I was just, like, there was one season where I was just in love with anything that was that, like, deep kind of
bright blue.
It was, mm-hmm. like, deep and bright at the same time, and it was so
perfect.
It was just so perfect. And then the same with, like, a teal green, but almost more green than teal. Mm-hmm. Kind of darker color. I will say that I've always kind of gravitated more towards deeper colors.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, and that's been that way for a long time. But there are some, like, pastels that recently I've started liking. Mm-hmm. Alright, I found something on gray, and it was 0% helpful.
No one has love for gray.
Gray is conservative, boring, drab, and depressing, but also...
But wait, there's more.
But also elegant, formal, but also never glamorous.
Okay, so I think if I'm going to give an interpretation, maybe not of that, but of gray in itself, I think it can be seen as a very, like, boring color, but it's in the way you use it.
Yeah.
Like, it can be seen super minimalist, very chic.
It says that it can stifle and depress energy, but also the stable base that it comes from, mm-hmm. can kind of have a positive outcome.
Yeah.
So it's more of like a stability thing.
So it's like a foundation color.
Yeah. These are positive keywords are reliable, conservative, dignified, neutral, impartial, professional, mature, intelligent, classic, solid, stable, calming, subdued, reserved, elegant, formal, and dependable. And negative keywords are indecisive, non-emotional, indifferent, boring, sad, depressed, lifeless, lonely, isolated.
I don't know if you really remember the Hunger Games.
I watched some of the movies.
I don't think you got this far, because I think we've talked about Hunger Games before. I don't know if you did. You can tell me.
Okay.
But, sorry if you haven't read or seen the Hunger Games, but
Spoiler
those movies
alert.
Have been out for a while. And those books.
Speed up for a sec.
Yeah. So, President Coin is the president of the underground district. And this is what she's wearing. So it's kind of like a cape.
Oh, yeah.
And it also, I think it, like, because color is very important in the districts. And, like, District 1 is the most flamboyant, so they have, like, all these different colors. And then District 12 is super poor, so they pretty much wear, like, browns and light blues and things like that. And then, like, the districts near the water who are like more, it's like that sort of symbolism. So I feel like they chose to put her in gray because of like the solemn sort of thing that her people had gone through, and then maybe also as a warning in a way.
Kind of like some foreshadowing.
Yeah, I think there was some foreshadowing going on that like...
I love spotting. I watch TV shows, and this probably isn't like real in TV shows, but I watch them and then like rewatch them a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
And on my like third or fourth, they'll like say something very small, and I'll be like, "Oh dang, foreshadowing!"
It definitely
to like
is.
the very end
Mm-hmm.
of the TV show, but maybe it's like unintentional foreshadowing because I don't think that they write the TV shows that far in advance, do they?
I think they do sometimes. Like they have at least a basic plot line.
Yeah.
Because just think of all those plot twists that took so much preparation. Like, if you think back to, like, one of your favorite shows, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, when Rose was the bad wolf, like, they had been foreshadowing that forever. And that was, like, heavy foreshadowing. But even in Game of Thrones right now, one of the main characters, her hair is very significant. And, like, hair has always been significant throughout the series, like, how the women wear their hair. But the actress who plays this specific character is just now, like, mentioning that it is specific for this season that just came out. And she's saying that her character, who is now, like, in a place of somewhat power, is, like, modeling her hair after people she admires. And the hair she's wearing is almost identical to one of the main villains, how her hair was in season 1.
Oh, does that mean she's gonna be bad?
We don't know.
She's probably gonna be
It kind of changes throughout the series, so it seems like it might have, like, throughout the season, not the series, but it's kind of changed. And she also talked about, like, her outfit, because there was this guy that kept trying to ally himself with her, but also turn her against people. So her outfit was very tight and, like, to her, though. Like, there were no zippers or anything. And there was, like, a chain necklace she wore where it was, like...
where she felt like she was trapped, almost.
Not necessarily trapped, but, like, saying I'm off limits.
Oh, okay.
That's how they interpreted it. Because, like, they actually had an... I mean, normally I would maybe understand that, but, like, considering she had her hair in a powerful, like, modeled after another powerful woman, and she was, like, she is just, like, kind of... doesn't take any crap from this dude anyways. Like, if you saw the show, I think you would have felt that way. And then another way, which I know we're getting way off topic now. We'll get back to the next theory probably soon. But another character, the culture she's familiarized herself with, the leaders, they wear their hair very long, and they get to add a braid to their hair for every battle they win. So as the series has gone on, which... someone just made, like, this post about it, so I hadn't even noticed, but her braids have become more and more intricate with, like, the battles she's won.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's super cool, like, all those small details. And, if you remember when we talked about theater, like, how big symbolism is in the theater, I think it might be, like, depending on the series you're watching, it's probably just as big. Yeah. But it's just subtle. Color can be symbolism. Clothing, all of it.
But what does it all mean? But what does it all really mean?
I mean, color therapy.
Color therapy is a thing, but why do you think people gravitate towards different colors throughout their life? Do you think it's, like, based off of how they're feeling at that time, or how they want to feel? You think it depends on the person?
Probably. I think it would be more likely that it would be a reflection of how they're already feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think people generally, I mean, you'd have to be really conscious of your decisions to like, be intentional in what you're choosing. Like, the only time I think people are super intentional with color is, like, if they're preparing for something, but, like, when they're designing their houses and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then my next theory, which I know this can be kind of easily debunked, but I just really liked the information I found, and so I think it definitely, there's cases of it that have occurred, even if it's not necessarily true for everything.
Yeah.
I said that there are only so many problems and answers in the world. Everything is recycled and constantly being given to another person. And I asked, what does it take to be the first person? So what caused me to think about this was the invention of the radio was something we studied in Intro to Electronic Media. Whenever we went over that, we talked about how at the time there was no form of communication to where people could talk to each other about what they were inventing. So there are several instances of people creating a type of radio or describing radio waves before it was like official or put into motion.
Well, I kind of feel that way about my spooky monsters theory.
Mm-hmm. Which is why it's perfect. But many people believe that radio originated in 1873 when James Clerk Maxwell, a British physics professor, published his theory of electromagnetism, which predicted the existence of radio waves. So, even though that was just a theory that he was posting about, many people attribute like the discovery of radio to him. And then it goes on to different people who proved it existed and then made it go further and further and further. And the creation of radio was really widespread. It was mostly in Europe. And then something like, I've thought about this for a very long time. And there was a quote that originally like made me think of it. And it was back in 2014 when the movie Unbroken came out. I don't know if it was the first movie she directed, but I know she got a lot of praise for it. Angelina Jolie actually directed that movie.
I don't think I've ever even heard of that movie.
It's really good. It's about Louis Zamperini. And he was...
What a name.
Yeah, he's great. And joined the military and was a prisoner of war. And it was really, really bad. And so that's basically what the movie was about. And it was, I believe it was him and his friends were in a plane and the plane crashed, but they had like a lifeboat. And then when they washed on shore, that's when they became prisoners of war. Which, like, it was bad because they had survived for so long.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, she was given an honorary Oscar for directing. And one of the things she said in her acceptance speech, which was pretty short, that I thought was just like I've carried it with me since I heard it in 2014. It's just, I always thought it was a really cool concept. She said, I've never understood why some people are lucky enough to be born with the chance that I had, to have this path in life, and why across the world there's a woman just like me with the same abilities and the same desires and the same work ethic and love for her family, only she sits in a refugee camp. I don't know why this is my life and that's hers. I don't understand that, but I will do as my mother asked, and I will do the best I can with this life to be of use. And I just thought, like, it was just really impactful.
Yeah.
And a way to think about it, like, that, and, like, even with this podcast, we wanted to get it out as soon as possible because we knew there was a chance that someone would have a similar idea, and start making something similar to it.
Yeah, just like those two girls.
Yeah, they have our name, the same name as us.
Yeah, Theoretically Speaking.
But theirs is like a completely different concept because it's about movies.
Yeah.
But still, like, the similarities there. And so this concept is actually called multiple discovery. And it's the concept of, it's more of a hypothesis that most scientific discoveries and inventions are made independently and more or less simultaneously by multiple scientists and inventors. And it opposes the traditional view of heroic theory of invention and discovery, which that sort of says that the people who discovered these things, like when Newton was able to explain gravity and like kind of discovered gravity, are heroic and great scientists, and like they're kind of the only ones who could have come up with it.
Oh, yeah.
And even if they were, you know, I like to imagine that there was probably someone else who was very close. But that's kind of where the question of, like, what does it take to become the first? Do they have to be just, like, the most passionate about it, the most thoughtful about it? And is it just the combination of all of those that kind of decides who becomes the first one? So this is an article by Malcolm Gladwell in The New Yorker, and it's called In the Air, Who Says Big Ideas Are Rare? And it focuses on a company where they basically had invention meetings. It's like a company that makes a lot of inventions and things like that. And it uses the concept of synergy, that like if a lot of smart people or a lot of people are in the same room bouncing ideas off each other, are able to come up with more ideas. And even if they've got similar concepts and things like that. The invention company was expecting to do like 100 patents per year, and now they're doing 500 patents per year.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it like proves that synergy is real.
Yeah.
And if synergy is real, I feel like even though it's like more far-fetched because you don't have those other people to bounce off of, I believe multiple discovery could be real.
I believe that that's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, being a paranormal addict, if you will,
Yes.
You find that once you listen to and look at a lot of stories, they all have similar, like,
backgrounds?
not backgrounds, but they all have like similar things that happened throughout them.
Yeah.
Same as like there are tons of like similar sightings, even like way back in the day, of different things in different cultures, and there's like no way that they could have communicated with each other at that point in time.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that that's for sure a thing.
And I kind of agree, because like you look at myths throughout history and things like that.
Even like the Greek gods and stuff they all have the same, like the same gods that have the same powers that are just named something different.
Like to other religions and things like that. Like there's always a sun god or thunder god or water god.
Yeah.
And like they're connected to those elements and things like that.
I've always had this theory where there's no way that all of these monsters are just like made up.
Monsters such as
vampires, werewolves, aliens, fairies.
Favorites.
Cryptids, basically. A cryptid is a hidden animal, basically, is what it's defined as. But basically, it's Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, vampires.
Okay.
There are several books based on, like, just Japanese cryptids, and they have some crazy ones. And
that sounds cool.
We'll touch on those in a second. They're in my little list. But even just as vampires, there's this whole website that's based on vampires around the world, and it is literally vampiresaroundtheworld.weebly.com.
Does it see vampires as like a sophisticated creature or more like an animal?
It really depends on the culture and on the thing. So these are all like different ones. So they've got like India, Philippines, China,
Dang.
Malaysia,
They're really in depth.
Yeah, and they've got Romania, Mesopotamia, and like Slavic Europe, and then the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got in Asia, and they've all kind of got a little bit of the classic vampire thing in them.
Mm-hmm.
So the boot, I guess, is what I'm going to call it.
Oh, is that like the Mediterranean?
Bahoot. No, this is in India.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, like, because Italy is shaped like a boot.
No, the boot. Bahoot, maybe. I don't know how to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically somebody whose soul is stuck in purgatory, they died like a physical or like physically untimely or violent death.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they're stuck in purgatory?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are nocturnal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're reanimated corpses that attack the living.
Dang. So like a zombie sort of
So
vampire.
kind of like a zombie, yeah. And it usually results in like ailment or death.
Mm-hmm.
Brahm Rakshas are in northern India, and they are someone who either committed evil deeds in his life or misused his knowledge for ill will, I think is what it's supposed to say. But it just stops at ill. Anyway, they use their knowledge for bad things, and
so like as a punishment.
yeah, physical descriptions vary on this, so it's kind of like not really a good example to use, but does the same thing as just kind of attacks people.
Mm-hmm.
The Aswang is a very common one, and that's from the Philippines, and there are a couple of types of Aswang. One is Mandurigo, which means bloodsucker, and they come from ye olden times.
Ye olden times?
Ye olden times. This is similar to in England when people would put bricks in mouths of people to keep them from
like dead
reanimating as a vampire.
Oh my gosh. Like, this
So,
is like a serious thing.
Yeah. So this is in the Philippines, and there's a live one and a dead one. Anyway, there's a famous story where this lady marries a bunch of men separately, individually. She marries like one guy, and then he like withers away to nothingness, and she marries another husky guy, and he eventually withers away to nothingness, and so she gets to her sixth husband, and her fourth husband, I'm sorry, and he wakes one night because he feels something like pricking his neck, and he just kind of like stabs at it with a knife that he keeps close, and in the morning he wakes up and his wife is found dead with a knife wound in her chest, not very far from their cottage. So she was a vampire. It's similar to what is in ye olden times, England.
Gotcha.
Similar to a couple of different vampire stories then.
Okay.
There's one that's also similar, Manengal, which means self-segmenter, and it's a beautiful old woman who is able to detach her winged upper body and prey on sleeping pregnant women. And you can put crushed garlic or salt on the lower half, and it will render this creature incapable of returning to its earthly form. So that's probably where the bat thing came from.
Yeah. And the garlic thing.
Yeah. But the garlic thing is in like so many different things. And in Malaysia, there's another one that's very similar to the Manengal, where it's only a head with stomach and entrails dangling beneath it. But the stomach and entrails just kind of look like fireflies at night.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
And really specific.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't do a whole bunch of searching into these vampire things because I didn't want to focus mainly on vampires.
That's fine. You gave a lot of examples.
Yeah, and that was only in Asia, though. But if you want to look at it, we'll link vampires.aroundtheworld.weebly.com in the thing, and you can do some more research yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got, I've got some Bigfoot ones, which I can pretty much name those off the top of my head.
She's a big Bigfoot fan.
They've got the European Wild Man, which is, this is on listverse.com. I don't know how accurate that is, but anyway, there's,
That's kind of us all the time. I don't know how accurate this is, but here's my information.
The European Wild Man is basically in Europe. It doesn't tell me where it's from. I swear I knew where it was from.
Like a specific place in Europe?
Yeah, it doesn't say. I'm guessing he's just from Europe.
General Europe.
The forest people, also known as the Bat-Tut or something else. Hairy ape-like hominid, classic. They're from they're in the forest regions of Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. The Lailoken, which is the Scottish wild man, typical Bigfoot sighting. The Yeren, which is in China. We've got Pakistan's Baramanu.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a human-like creature that is similar to Bigfoot.
They all have those typical Bigfoot similarities.
Yeah.
Like
hairy, really giant, hairy, ape-like men.
Yeah. They're even less diverse than the vampires.
Yeah. Alma of Mongolia.
I feel like that
I don't know how
provides
to pronounce
more
that
evidence for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because
Bigfoot, looking deep into Bigfoot is definitely another 3 podcasts. I'm telling you, the Bigfoot theories get crazy.
Yeah, you've shown me portions of the Mysterious Universe podcast where they had recordings.
Yeah, that's only the beginning. Honestly, that's recordings, right? But we're talking about theories, people sightings. There are some theories where Bigfoot is interdimensional.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
There are some theories where Bigfoot is actually in line with the gray aliens. I'm telling you, another 3 podcasts, or a whole podcast just as Bigfoot.
I don't think I even know about gray aliens. I think, you know what that makes me think of?
What?
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Oh my gosh.
The worst Indiana Jones movie. And I love Indiana Jones.
But you have the Yowie in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Skunk Ape in Florida.
Oh, the, dang it, keep going. I have something to look up.
Anyway, that's all for Bigfoot.
I think it's the Boggy Creek Monster in,
Here is my giant list. This is from relativelyinteresting.com.
It's the Boggy Creek Monster in Falk, Arkansas, which I drive through when I go to school 2 times a week. And they have a very famous museum there. There's a whole movie about the, Falk Monster. And, it actually has almost a 5 out of 10.
Almost a 5. That's about halfway.
Yeah. It has a 4.9. Alright, sorry I interrupted.
So you've got... This is in Europe. Let's just list off the similarities in... Okay, here's one very, very crazy Japanese cryptid. Kasa Obaki. I don't know if that's how you say that. Mm-hmm. Sorry if I butchered it. Anybody that's going to be listening to this and is Japanese. Anyway, it's an animated umbrella that jumps around on one leg.
What?
Yes.
That's insane. And people said they've seen that?
Yeah. Well, it's a cryptid, so, like, it has to have been seen before to be a cryptid.
Okay. Sure, it wasn't just a drunk person under an umbrella.
You know?
You never know.
So we've got the Agapogo, which is...
This is an infograph, you guys. This is serious.
Yeah, a lake-dwelling serpentine monster.
AKA the Loch Ness Monster.
Basically. Tail hand. That's a crazy one. Anyway, you've got the rainbow serpentine, which is... oh, wait, hold on, no. I'm going to skip this one. That one's too hard to look at. This is what I need. Alright, Harper, my geography isn't too great. I might need your help with this. The states are not listed on here.
Okay. Some of that goes up into Canada.
But if you count here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lake monsters in the entire U.S., Canada-ish area.
North America.
In the entire North America. Isn't that just crazy?
And they've got to have been cited multiple times to make it onto this list. It's not like one person.
Yeah. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Bigfoot type
Creatures.
peeps. There's Oklahoma octopus, which I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is hard to, like, expect an octopus in the middle of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They don't even have a Great Lake. How am I supposed to believe that?
For real. There's this one that I really didn't like. It was like, moon-eyed people. Do we believe it? No. There's only one that we believed. It was like a haunted house.
Gosh.
Brown Mountain Lights. Do we believe it? Yes. Do we believe it? No. Do we believe it? No.
And
don't tell me what I believe or not.
An opinion piece.
Yeah. Oh, look, there's another one. That's stupid. Anyway, here's another list of sea monsters and cryptids. So you've got Nessie, the Stronsay Beast, the Agapogo, Caddy, Champ, Memphrey, Lake Van Monster, Atlee, San Clementine Monster. Those are all Loch Ness Monster-esque monsters.
Clearly, it's not nothing.
It's not nothing. These things are out there. I've given you guys enough evidence. I know that it was just Bigfoot, lake monsters, and vampires, but I've given you enough evidence
to see that there's a pattern. And if you want to know more,
you can go to relativelyinteresting.com. The monstrous compendium of cryptids and creatures. Or I'll just link it into the little area.
Our description.
And our description.
Our description on SoundCloud.
And we'll honestly probably go into each one of those things separately on another podcast. Because everybody knows that I like scary things.
Related things.
Or just conspiracy related things. Anything that goes against the norm, probably something I believe in.
The water horse made me not afraid of the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that story.
Man, that was a good story.
Yeah.
I think that was it for theories, though.
Yeah,
right?
So time for Would You Watch That?
Time for Would You Watch That? I've got some pretty cool ones. They're all kind of Halloween-y related.
Which is good for Octobercast. It's a thing.
Alright, let's see. My first one is... I'm sorry, I just had to sign exasperation over this name. This Tumblr name.
Do you want me to say it?
It's called Moriarty the Tease.
Gosh.
Classic Sherlock villain. Anyway. He says, so what happens if two people have promised their firstborn to separate witches and then have a child together? Do they both pop up in the nursery and have a custody battle? I need a book about a little girl whose parents had promised their firstborn to different witches, and the only way that both ends of the deal were fulfilled was for them to have joint custody of the child. And I think that, would you watch that?
I watch it?
Yeah.
I think probably so. I think it would be kind of like a comedy.
I think it would be a comedy. I think it would be kind of like a funny TV show. Yeah. Like a classic sitcom. Yeah. And
I like sitcoms, certainly.
What is it? What is that show?
I like ones without the laugh track.
Sister Sister. I think it would be similar to that, where the adopted mom and adoptive dad live in the same house, but they're not married.
I don't think I've seen Sister Sister. I'm just the worst.
You haven't seen Sister Sister? That's okay. It's probably before your time. Anyway, Tia and Tomorrow are twins separated at birth. Okay. One gets adopted by a lady and one gets adopted by a man. Oh. They find each other in like middle school or something, and are
the parents both want the other one?
No, I don't think anything really happens of it, but they like move into the house together. Oh. And so the adopted mom and the adopted dad live in the house together, but they're not married.
Did they fall in love?
Well, I think they sort of do eventually. But it's been so long since I've seen it. I think it would be similar to that, though, where both witches live in the same house and this little girl is just like...
It would be even better if they were like an odd couple. Like total opposites.
Yeah.
Like just like getting on each other's nerves, and it's like, I don't even know how the same human who promised me their first child, also their partner promised you their first child.
Yeah. One is just like very reasonable and responsible, and the other one is just like, let's go party.
Yeah, wants to be like the fun aunt. Yeah. Like the fun witch mom person. Okay, what do witches do when they're promised a first child? What do they do?
I think it's similar to like I almost said Thumbelina. That's not it. Rapunzel.
Love Thumbelina. Oh yeah.
Where they just kind of like keep them.
That's kind of weird. I mean, at least with Rapunzel, she had magical hair in the Disney version. I know that's not true for the original story.
I don't know what witches do in their off time.
Yeah. I guess we'll never know until we make that story. Right. I would watch that, especially because I think it would be really funny.
I think it would be funny, too.
I think it would be really funny to see, like, one witch is, like, a stay-at-home witch, and the other one, like, goes and works. Yeah. And when they come in and they, like, take off their pointy hat, and it's like, ugh, the broom traffic was awful today.
Oh, my gosh, that would be so funny.
And the kid is just like, hi.
This one is from Lady Saviors. It says, you know what would be cool? A show about vigilante Victorian prostitutes hunting down Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, that I would. Sorry.
I think it would probably be better as a movie, but I would definitely watch that.
Yeah, I pictured that as a movie actually first, because so much action.
Yeah, so much action, and then like you only have one thing that they're hunting down, and there's like several different ones, but like it would get too repetitive eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless it would be like a cop show.
Yeah, but they would have to be secret cops because they're prostitutes.
Yeah, they'd have to like follow the cops around.
They'd have to like offer their services to the cops to get their information, and it would be a whole secret thing. And then it wouldn't be able to be hunting down Jack the Ripper all the time. They'd have to do some like side work. Yeah, which is annoying. I don't really like that.
Anyway, be better as a movie, I think.
Yeah, I like the idea of like these women who are like kind of not at the top of society are doing the best for society.
Yeah.
And running around in their Victorian clothes is especially great.
They're slutty Victorian clothes because
Yes,
they're
of course.
prostitutes.
And so their boobs are all hanging out everywhere they run.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would be a little bit of Assassin's Creed mixed with like a detective type show.
I think it would be like private investigator by day, prostitute by night.
Yeah.
Prostitute by day, vigilante by night. Except for prostitutes always do their work at night, so they'd have to vigilante during the day.
But that would be hard.
That would be hard.
Maybe they
take
rotate
shifts.
nights. Like, Sarah's got it this night.
Yeah. Anyway, would you watch that?
Yeah, I think I would. Which, like, maybe you're just really good at finding them, so I like the sound of both of those.
I think I would, depending on
Yeah,
if it's like a...
Well done.
Yeah, if it's well done and
I actually think...
how, like, prostitute-y it is.
Yeah, because you get uncomfortable.
I get uncomfortable very easily.
I think... I don't know why it's magnet right there. I think that could be, like, if it were a series, it could be, like, a 2-season show. And it would be good. Or, like, if it were a BBC show where they only release, like, 4 episodes.
Yeah,
and
or, like, a mini-series.
Because I always kind of have a love for series versus movies just because it keeps going. And there's more development and more like that.
You can kind of go further in depth with it.
Yeah, I think where I am right now in my life, like... I used to just be head over heels for books, and, like, I just kind of don't have the time, which I don't really make the time. But with series, I find that I can, like, have it going while I do other things.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, like, that's kind of my favorite method of entertainment right now.
Same.
So, probably would like it as a series. Or a movie, but preferably a series.
Alright, last one. And this would probably be just, like, a comedy movie. I think there's not really much here to go off of, but this is from Melodoodle, and it's like a demon that writes messages on your mirror with blood, but they're like useful messages. Like, remember you have yoga tonight at 6.
What did you say you think that would be more of as?
Like a comedy movie.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But they're... I need you to read this. What's that one? They're all West. Anyway.
Oh, The Real Ray West.
Okay. The real Ray West says, imagine sticking a dry erase pen to the mirror with a message like, dang it, Moloch, just use the pen. You don't need to slaughter a chicken every time I have an appointment.
So the demon is, like, on the other side of the mirror.
Yeah.
Once again, proving that mirrors are creepy.
Mirrors are spooky.
I think that would be fun. I kind of... the reason I had to ask again is because, like, I kind of pictured it as, like, a web comic. Like a comic book. I think that would be really funny as a comic strip. That would be funny, too. But, I can see it as a movie. It would be hard because it would depend on if they were trying to make it too serious.
Yeah.
It
kind of reminds me of a book that I was reading that I didn't realize it was a series. And so I picked up, like, halfway through the series. And I hate when I do that because even though people say you don't have to read in order, I feel like I have to read in order.
Yeah.
And if I like a book, I want to go to the beginning of it and, like, read the whole series, even if it's, like, too hard to find.
Yeah.
But it was this book called White Witch, Black Curse, where this witch had to, like, deal with demons to kind of get what she needed at the time. I think her boyfriend was murdered.
Oh, dang.
And she was, like, searching for his murderer. But, a lot of the times the demons that she calls are kind of like, what do you want now?
Like,
she's like, just give me a second. I only need some information. You need to calm down. And she's just kind of, like, shunned from, like, the witch thing because her aura has been blackened, so she's in, but she's also like a white witch, so the demons really don't want anything to do with her, so she's kind of in like
she just doesn't have anyone.
Sticky situation, but the demons will like help her out if she helps them out a little bit.
What blackened her aura? Just her boyfriend dying?
Her boyfriend, well, like I said, I came in the middle of the series. Her boyfriend died, and she dealt with this one demon. Anyway, and that once you like deal with demons, your aura blackens.
Oh,
so
gosh, understandable. But I think that would be fun. It would just be hard because were you picturing it as live action or cartoon?
Probably like live action. Live action, similar to like a scary movie, but more
like a comedy drama.
No, not like
horror comedy.
Have you never seen the scary movies?
Yes.
Like that.
Okay.
Where,
when you
but a little
movie,
less like slapstick, like making fun of, like parody kind of thing. More of like a.
They were roommates, but different dimensions.
Yeah. More of something along the lines of that. That's like really you come home with the guy, and you guys have like naughty shower time, and then you come out and you have to like say, oh wait, here I forgot towels, don't come out of the shower because the demon that you live with has like written a message like, oh, you go girl, in the mirror.
Or what if it's like something like use protection, like don't forget,
wrap it before you tap it.
And it would be funny if like there was an age difference, or like it would all depend on how the demon was. Like if it was like a fatherly figure, it would be so offended, and if it was like around the same age as the person, it would probably be more like congratulatory in those situations.
I just think it would be really funny. Or like you go out for a night on the town and come back and you're like throwing up after a hangover, and it's like writes on the mirror like rough night ?
Are you okay? And does the mirror work both ways? Can you leave messages for the demon?
I think you could probably just talk to the demon.
Can't really see what's going on over there.
You
probably wouldn't even know what the demon looked like.
Probably not, unless they like showed themselves in the mirror. Unless you did one of those mirror tricks where you light the candle and sit in front of the mirror and watch your background to see little ghosties behind you.
I don't think I'll ever do that.
No, I don't think so either.
I think I would watch that. I would want it to be really well done. I would worry that they would turn it into almost like a really bad like 90s, 80s style cheese fest. Which, like, depending on how they did it, wouldn't necessarily be bad. But I wouldn't want it to be so cheesy. I would want it to be funny without being stupid.
I almost feel like I want it to be kind of like that. There's this one movie, I forget what it's called. It turned into like a surprisingly very sad movie.
Oh no.
Odd Thomas.
Oh, yeah. And he has all the books.
The books?
Yeah, well, Odd Thomas, there's a book series. My grandpa loves Odd Thomas.
I did not know that it was a book series.
Yeah, it's a book series.
Okay, because I just watched the movie, and in the movie, he could, like, see ghosts and helped the detectives out a little bit, but really tried to stay out of a lot of the
I haven't really watched, I haven't watched the whole thing. I think there's multiple movies, and I know that there are multiple books, because my papa is, like, in love with the Odd Thomas thing, because he's talked to me about it multiple times.
It's a really good movie.
And if it was done in that style.
If it was done in that style, I think it would work out. Even though it ended up being more of a serious thing at the end.
Well, that's fine. Like, a lot of comedies end up that way.
Yeah.
Or at least have their serious moment. I prefer a comedy that has a serious moment. Because I feel like then I can take it seriously as a movie.
Yeah.
That's what separates it from those movies you hate.
True. True.
So is that all?
That's it.
So this was our 4th podcast. We talked about some fun things. We hoped you enjoyed it, and I would like to give a shout out to our friend Hank, who did a little animation.
Oh yeah.
Of our first episode. It was from our first episode, right?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
We discussed dichotomy, and so the video is called Dichotomy. It's on YouTube, and do you know what his channel name is? I'll have to look. And he does a really good job of interpreting our conversation, like in a way I never would have thought of.
It was really funny.
Everyone I've sent it to really enjoyed it, even people who have not listened to the podcast before. Like I mentioned Caleb's sister briefly at the end of it, so I sent it to her. Mm-hmm. She thought it was hilarious, which was a good sign. So his YouTube channel is called
Indifferentication.
Yeah.
Where is it? Yeah. Indifferentification. He's a very complex man.
So, that's a very complex name.
Yeah.
It was really good. He did
probably
a good job.
Just look up dichotomy and look for the Juno character, because that's the cover picture of it, I think.
Yeah, it's also the best part of that.
Yeah.
So, don't forget to support us by following us on Instagram, following us on SoundCloud, where you're probably listening to this. Shoot us an email or a DM, and remember to #BeABud with a little sunflower emoji.
Yep.
All right, see you guys next week.
Catch you later.
Bye.